Breaking news coming in, the U.S. administration is set to receive another big jolt. Now, the Washington Post is reporting that President Donald Trump has decided to remove his national security advisor, HR McMaster. The Post quoted sources as saying that Trump has already begun discussing potential replacements to McMaster. It is being said that Trump was never at ease with McMaster, a former Army veteran who was appointed to the post last year. There have been dozens of firings in the Trump administration. Just this week, the U.S. President sacked his Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, and appointed CIA Director Mike Pompeo in his place. And joining me on the phone line for more is Ramesh Ramachandran. Ramesh, what explains this new sacking that Trump is reported to be considering?
Well, this story was broken by the Washington Post newspaper just a short while ago. And if it is indeed true and Trump sacks his national security advisor, it'll be the latest in a series of sackings from the Trump government in the last few days alone. Remember, just a couple of days ago, he had sacked his Secretary of State, that's the Foreign Minister, Rex Tillerson, and replaced him with Mike Pompeo, who was heading the CIA. So if indeed McMaster is sacked in the next few hours or days, it'll be the latest in a series of casualties that are taking place under the Trump administration. And that, to many people in the White House as well as outside, does not bode too well for the stability within the White House administration.
Right. Ramesh, it just goes on to show that the U.S. president has very few people that he trusts. That's not very comforting news, isn't it?
Indeed, we've seen at least 20-plus people, officials being sacked in the last 1 year alone. Most recently, a trusted aide of President Trump himself, who was taking care of his personal communications, was sacked. So it's been a roller coaster ride for the officials in the Trump government, with no certainty as to how long they will last in this government. And if indeed McMaster is removed, it will be a big blow to the three-star general who had valued his reputation and yet joined the Trump administration reluctantly, though.
Right. Now, after Rex Tillerson, there were fears of more people being on the chopping block. But this comes even as NSA McMaster was working with Trump to put pressure on Russia. How bizarre is that?
Indeed, the circumstances are rather interesting and intriguing at the same time. McMaster is a three-star general who has worked in the Trump administration for some time now, so he is familiar with the dynamic obtaining within the White House. That said, most recently, last night, India time, McMaster gave a long speech about the situation obtaining in West Asia, especially with regard to the 7th anniversary of the Syria conflict. So he's been in the thick of action for the last many hours and days now. And if it is indeed true, it'll come as a big shock to McMaster himself and other officials who might now wonder about how long they will last in this government.
Right. And my final question to you, Ramesh, is that Donald Trump always speaks about the equation that he has with people in his administration when it comes to getting postings. Do you think that he supports, or maybe he likes people who he has a good chemistry with over their work?
Indeed, and that's the sense one gets as well. Remember when he addressed the media not so long ago, he explicitly said that he did not get along well with Rex Tillerson for one, and that he disagreed with him on many points, including most notably North Korea. So Trump seems to put a lot of premium on personal rapport and chemistry, and that might not go down well with many of his team members. But that said, there is speculation even in the Washington Post article that Trump may replace HR McMaster with John Bolton, who is a former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations under the George W. Bush government, or Keith Kellogg, who represents the National Security Council. So everything is up for grabs. It remains to be seen whether Trump indeed goes ahead and sacks HR McMaster.
Right, Ramesh. Thank you for joining us with all those details.